in getting started today. Oh, I had a nightmare getting home from work. So we're here now, though, and unfortunately, what I was hoping to do, we're also not going to be able to do today. I was hoping that we could do a little bit of a review of the troops today, but I've not got the whole army in a position where I can review them. So what I thought we'd do instead is just crack on with the painting of the Württembergers, have a bit of a chat, and then we can perhaps do the review of the troops at the weekend, and I can have a look at what it is I still need to get done. The good thing is that there is a deadline for the Hello Ogre. There is a deadline for the Under Eagles to Glory, because this is the army that I want to take to that event. Now, if it ends up that I can't, then that's not necessarily the end of the world. But I would like to take the Württembergers. I know they've become a lot more popular since Piano Miniatures came out, but I'd like to do an army that's something a little bit different. I can always fall back on my French or British or Russians if I need to, but I would like to get the Württembergers done. Now, I'm just setting stuff up. I know I'm late starting, so apologies. I am still going to have to finish at 7:30. Sorry, it's at 7 o'clock though. Hello, Christopher. Hello. Thank you for joining me, and thank you for your continued support. It is, I am more grateful for it than you can possibly imagine. So thank you so much. I'm going to have a little dab of white, and we'll see how far we get going on. So what's everyone been up to today? We've had some lovely weather here in the UK this week, although we had a bit of rain yesterday. So I hope wherever you are, you're getting the benefits of some nice weather. Not in Brazil. Apparently, it's not very good weather in Brazil. So if you are in Brazil and you're watching, then stay safe, and I hope you're okay. I'm not sure how many Brazilian viewers I have, particularly at the moment, but if you are there, then stay safe. So what we're doing today is I'm just cracking on with these command groups. I've got some battalions here with me that they're mostly done apart from the commands, so I might whip those out towards the end of the video as a bit of a sneak peek for the weekend. But as it stands, I've got these commands to do, some artillery crew, and I think that's pretty much it, to be honest. Maybe some more cavalry. Oh yeah, actually no, that's a complete lie. That's not it at all. I've got some Jaegers to do, and at least one more regiment of cavalry. So actually, I just told you a complete load of lies there. I've still got absolutely tons to do. I knew I should have gone with Italians. I'd have just as much to do with them as well. Sorry, I'm just if I'm a little distracted, I'm just trying to get the live stream up so I can see people's comments. So I did these guys with a paint from Colour Forge. So Colour Forge do a lot of different coloured sprays, and this one was Ghoul Grey. So it's basically Games Workshop's Grey Seer. I'm not really sure what it would be from other companies, but it's a very pale grey. And the idea is that it provides the shading required for the white here. Now, I could have gone the other way, and I could have just sprayed them white and then washed them with Apothecary White, which may perhaps have been a better way of going. Certainly doing the white, it would have been better, but my concern there was it would make the blue and any other colours just a little bit washed out. So that's why I went for the slightly off white. So, oh, Jamie made it nearly 5 minutes before the end. Oh yeah, I didn't say. So now Jamie's here. That's the end of the stream. So see you later, guys. Thanks for tuning in. No, I'm joking. So I saw something about the weather in Poland. Oh, another set of adverts. Terrific weather in Poland. Oh, that's good. That is good. You guys get, when it's sunny out there, it is really sunny. As you hear, Jakob, I'm thinking of a weekend in Poland. So what would be your recommendation? Would you recommend a weekend in Warsaw or a weekend in Krakow? What would be your choice? I'll be going solo, so it's for like military museums and things like that. So obviously Auschwitz if I go to Krakow. Well, I spent a long time at the site of Bergen-Belsen, so I don't necessarily feel the need to go to Auschwitz. But if I was there, then I probably would. Hello from North London. Hello, John. Hello from Tennessee. Ooh, that's a good one. Krakow, without doubt. Right. Okay. Well, that's unequivocal. Okay. I'm not sure when yet. I'm thinking perhaps towards the end of the summer. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I'm still on my El Cid kick, so I quite want to go to Grenada as well. Well, Grenada's an island in the Caribbean, isn't it? So I'm just trying to eliminate any brush strokes here. I'm using quite a small brush, which isn't holding that much paint. So you can end up with some quite obvious brush strokes on these large flat areas like the guy's thigh. So I'm trying to avoid that. On the plus side, I was looking for some more minis, and I was like, what's in this box here? And I found a bag of 30 Terminators that I printed. So I'm quite looking forward to building some more Sons of Horus Terminators. That's it's always good. I might do these ones as Dark Angels. I haven't quite decided yet. Hello, Chesbury. Hello. I find myself layering the white up. I feel a little bit tedious. Rational expectations, 1000%. Yes, it's. I much prefer the look, and it is a real pain in the arse. Yes. No. You have described what I was trying to say much more succinctly than I have. So thank you for that. Yes. Now I completely agree. Now I can't remember if the turnbacks on this guy are white or not. I'm fairly sure they are, but I'll get them done now. And then it could be wasted pain. It might just be that the very edge of them are white. But there we go. Although Warsaw has a few nice 18th, 19th century palaces, but you're from the south of Poland. Where's the best winged hussar stuff? I think there isn't a military museum, isn't that in Krakow, I think? In fact, let's make that today's question of the day. What military museum has either been the favourite one that you've been to, or is your like the one that your dream one that you want to go to? So for me, now this is super random. I don't think anyone's going to guess. The one that will be my first choice museum is the King of Jordan's Tank Museum. Apparently, he's got a really good tank museum. A load of World War II stuff, but more importantly, he's got a load of 1950s and 60s tanks in there as well. So, yeah, no, King Hussein of Jordan, his tank museum would be my number one. There's also a tank museum in Australia that's got a German First World War tank. I'd quite like to see that. And the French Tank Museum is in I think it's in the Loire region, or something like that, where the wine is. I bet that's pretty cool as well, because they had some absolutely mad tanks in the 1910s and 20s. I've missed all of the inside of his arm there with the blue, haven't I? So that's a bit annoying. I'll have to go back and do that. Now, I've been quite careful painting the layers there. I'm going to be a little bit more slapdash here because Lucas has done such a good job of detailing the plume. I can let the detail on the model pick up the paint. And the same with the epaulets as well. So let me just get his baldric there at the top. I'm fairly sure his epaulets are white here. Again, I'm not 100% sure. Similarly with the turnbacks. If I've done them white, and they do need to be a different colour, I can always paint over them. It's not too tragic. Martin Radcliffe asks if these are Bavarians. No, these are Württembergers. Although I do have, you may have seen these guys here. They are some rando Bavarians that I've got in the same box. So those are Bavarians, but this guy here, he is an officer for the Württembergers. Let me get my brush around the camera. There we go. So he's lovely. Now, I was hoping to get a load of these guys like really smashed out over the weekends. But unfortunately, I've got some Second World War Germans I need to paint for bolt action. So that's what's taking up my weekends at the moment. Me and my brother are off to Stirling in Scotland. And we are doing... It's basically the Waterloo refought. The Great Game Waterloo refought. But it's the Second World War D-Day. So Paul wanted to be the Germans. So that's why we are busting out those guys. Now, I didn't have any. So I had to start my army from scratch. Well, I did have some. I've got some Fallschirmjäger. But they're no good for D-Day. So that's where I've been concentrating on. I've seen that there are some museums in the comments. Let's see what people are bringing up. Kubinka Tank Museum. Okay, where's that? Kubinka. Oh, yes. Whereabouts is that? Which country is that in, or which city? Stiff Wire works for Warlord Victory mainstays and backstays. Oh, very nice. That's good because the ones they provide, I may have mentioned it before, they sag, and when the masts sag, my happiness also sags. So I'm glad that you have. Yes, I'm glad that you've managed to replace them. That's good. Major Clanger, hi from Huddersfield. Great stuff. Chat and paint on doing Italian War 16th century. The Assault Group Battalions and Warlord Game of Landsknecht starts army. Fantastic. Yeah, they're really good sets. I bought the Assault Groups Landsknecht, the Renaissance characters last time. So I went to buy some Japanese, and he managed to talk me into buying some Renaissance Command as well. So you don't see him very often at shows. So I was quite happy to fork over the money for that one. Well, the Japanese snipers I bought were also very, very nice. All my Janissaries come from him as well, which reminds me, I've still got those to paint up. So we'll move swiftly on from there. In the box with all the Sons of Horus Terminators, I found my Ottoman admirals that I'd been printing from Wargames Atlantic as well. So that was a good find. Boris in chains in 28mm is a cracking figure. Hopefully Rishi in chains figures out. Yeah, I saw those. They do Boris the Donald and is it Theresa May? They do, I think. No, I did see them. They did look quite fun. I wanted them to do a Tony Blair one, but I'm not sure if they've done Blair or not. Him and Alistair Campbell would be quite good fun, I think. And maybe George W. So scroll down. Hello, Mike. A lot of wings are to be found in Krakow in the museums. Well, there you go. That's it. I'm there then. Infantry Museum in Fort Bennington, Georgia. Okay, that's an interesting one. Is that does that go right back to the Revolutionary War, or is it more of a Civil War and post-Civil War thing? I was thinking the blue was dark. Come to think of it. Yes, yeah. For Bavarians, yes, this will be too dark. and the variants tend to be much sort of, I don't know, it's weird. It is paler, but it's much more. It can be quite vibrant as well. I've got some Franco-Prussian War Bavarians that Lucas sculpted that I need to paint up. I haven't quite found the blue for them yet, so that's what's one of the many things that's putting me off. The other one is that I've got a million different projects to do. That's the question of the day. Musée de Plein Relief is where I love to go. Literally, Museum of Military Models. Oh, okay, that's cool. So back as 1668. So, all right, Louis XIV's time. Lost Heretic. Hello from Hawaii. Hello, her from Hawaii. Blimey, Charlie. I don't. What time is it over there? So, well, hello. You are more than welcome. I think my brother's watching. So, whereabouts in Hawaii are you? Are you from? My brother's a big Hawaii fan. He went there for his honeymoon. Moscow. Yeah, no, I'd love to go to Moscow. I was planning Moscow and St. Petersburg when old Vlad decided to put the kibosh on that. I mean, he didn't even consult me either. I mean, he could have waited until I'd been. I don't know. It's very inconsiderate. I think Samur. Yes, that does sound about right, Martin. Are those all your own 3D printed miniatures, Tim? Yes, they are, Mike. I have a bit of a, I have a bit of a problem. Yes, they are my 3D printed figures. So one of the problems with my Württembergers is I'd bought quite a cheap starter printer, and it was sort of breaking down. I was having problems with it, and I couldn't really work out what the problem was. So what I would do is I'd, for argument's sake, change the FEP sheet. So I'd do a new FEP sheet, and then I was like, right, I need to do a print that I know works. So I know it's not the supports and things like that. So the one that I knew worked was the Württemberger line. So that's why I've got tons of Württemberg line. And then we went away for my 40th birthday, and I was able to stay in like a cottage in the middle of nowhere for a week. And it was basically just me, 200 Württembergers, and my paints. It was amazing. It was absolutely great. We had a weekend. It was basically a week away with the boys, or a weekend away with the boys, and then the following week I was just on my own, and it was great. It was absolutely great. Anyone who's like, a week on your own, or what would you do? Believe you me, Württembergers was the answer. All the Württembergers. But I didn't have much command, so that's why I'm being punished doing them now. I can think of loads I'd love to visit, but I still think Lee's Armories is hard to beat. Yeah, I don't know. It's a funny one, Lee's Armories. It is good. I find, like, say you've got like all the muskets on the wall. You've got like thousands of muskets on the wall. It is very impressive, but I think the impressiveness very soon wears off. I do like that there's a free water taxi, though. Oh, it's not free anymore. You have to pay £1. So I don't know what that's about. It used to be free. But no, joking aside, I do like Leeds Armories. It is very good. Fiasco has become... Is it Fiasco they have at Leeds Armories? That has become a staple wargame show for me. It's normally how I end the year. And normally the Yorkshire Game is there as well, and he normally has an absolutely incredible display there. So it's worth seeing just for that. Hello, Clive. Building my 2-foot artillery guns, cruising limits for the event. The battalion's just 3 to go. Fantastic. Fort Benning also has the US Armour Museum. Yeah, no, I'd quite like to go to Fort Benning, actually. That's another one. I was told when I went to Chicago, I didn't know until I met up with some guys there, that there's a U-boat museum there. And I thought, in the end, I didn't get to go and see it because I wanted to see Nighthawks instead. That's one of my favourite paintings, so I had to go and see that. And I thought, it's okay, I'm going to come back to Adepticon not next year, but the year after. I'll go and see it then. And now they've moved Adepticon to Milwaukee. I don't think there's many submarines in Milwaukee. I'm not I may not be a geography expert or a submarine warfare expert, but I think Milwaukee has limited access for submarines, let's put it that way. Major Client, eventually I want a 3D printer, but what's the best starter one? Um, to be honest, to be perfectly honest, from what I've seen, they're pretty much all the same. Now, the one I'm using at the moment is an Anycubic. He looks over Anycubic Photon X. Photon Mono X is the one I'm using at the moment. It's got quite a big build plate, and it's been pretty good for me so far. Now, I cut my teeth on a smaller one, but I would suspect that for the price I paid for that smaller one is probably now the same price as the Mono X. So you can get yourself a slightly bigger one. It tends to be, the price of them tends to be more the size of the build plate and the quality of the parts that are inside it. So if you want, say, a steel resin bath, then you got to pay more. Now, do you need a steel resin bath? Probably not. It'll last longer than a plastic one, but it's not something that really wears out anyway. So I would suggest if you pop onto Amazon, look for a printer in the sort of £200 to £300 range. I honestly wouldn't go any more expensive than that for a first one. And if you can get one cheaper than that, I wouldn't necessarily advise against that either. Certainly £200 will get you a decent printer. So what's that? $260, something like that. I think you could get a more than acceptable starter one. I use Anycubic. Mars are also very popular. Creality, they do printers as well, also very popular. As I said, as far as I'm aware, they're all pretty much the same, to be honest. Matthew Wheeler, I am also building foot artillery. Very nice. I have all the foot built, just one to paint and one to finish, plus the vignette. Oh, fantastic. Yeah, the vignettes today I'm most excited about as well. He says, looking at his unpainted Russian wagon. With the amount of effort it took me to put it together, you're damn straight I'm going to paint it, though. Blimey. That was like giving a monkey a wrench, that was. I know, Luke, absolutely. I mean, I don't know. I mean, what an absolute fiend that man is. I mean, if he'd waited like 6 months, we could have cleared it. Yeah, no, that's fine. I've been now. I've seen I really want to go to the Artillery Museum at St. Petersburg. Yeah, that looks awesome. And then obviously the Great Patriotic War museums. One of the things I'd love to go to what's it called now, Volgograd, and see that massive like statue of victory that they've got there. That would be pretty sick as well. Get the largest build plate as you can afford. It's a steep learning curve, but you won't regret it. You'll wish you had a large size when you start printing. That's from Paul. Yeah, I completely agree with you on that one, buddy. Yes, I would agree. Although I wouldn't go too expensive for now. As I say, I'd probably limit it to at the very top end £400, just as you're learning. That's for a resin one. Someone said, "What do you want, resin or FDM?" If you want to print models, then you want a resin printer, and I'd be looking about £400 for them. For an FDM one, that tends to be better for terrain. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not really sure. I know General Dan's got one, and I know Paul's got one, but I am certainly no expert in FDM printers. Let's have a look. Saxon Thane, how was the response to your 1809 supplement suggestion? Well, no one's emailed me yet, or no one's told me that they've emailed me. So not great. I need to. I've been a little bit slack. I'm going to confess in contacting people. One of the things I have been doing is doing a lot more research into the smaller battles. So Tugendhausen, Eckmühl, the two battles of Landshut. I've been looking at the opening moves of the 1809 campaign, because that's the thing that I wouldn't necessarily feel super comfortable with at the moment, is writing the fluff part of the book. The stats I reckon I could probably churn out, and some special rules for things like the Brigade Infernal and things like that. I reckon I could do FML Myers Brigade and things like that. But yeah, at the moment I'm just doing a little bit more research into the into the thing. And to be honest, the other thing I want to cover is the Tyrol Revolt. Now, I did a video on Andreas Hoffner, but it was a subject that was pretty new to me. And to be honest, I don't think I covered that much about the revolt. It was more about him specifically. So I could do with learning a little bit more about that, or perhaps asking Lucas, because that's clearly an area that he's interested in. Do I think it would be possible to do 3D printing outside of the covered area? I'd love to do 3D printing, but I don't have any space. One of the big things people say about printing is the conditions that the printer's in is very important. Now, I'll be honest with you, my printer is not really kept in very good conditions. It's in the attic next to an open window, and the temperature does fluctuate quite a lot, and it doesn't seem to be affecting the prints. It might affect the life of the FEP sheet, I suppose. It doesn't seem to be. You can buy like thermal bags. I'd be tempted, if I had it outside, you could buy like a thermal bag from Iceland, because that's a freezer shop. So it's to put your food in so it doesn't defrost. I'd be tempted to put it in one of those if I had it outside. I'll be honest, it's not something I've thought about. It would be an interesting experiment, because that would also help eliminate the smells as well, which is one of the big downsides of the 3D printers. They don't half honk. So a friend of mine, well, not a friend of mine, a girl I work with, her boyfriend has just bought one, and they only have like a 2-room flat, and they keep it in the bedroom. Now, I have to say, I don't know how they manage that. That would not be something I would recommend. That's for both health reasons and just quality of life reasons. I have a question about rules regarding 7 years old. Oh, right, okay. Does Wargames also have anything decent, or shall I look elsewhere? As I'd love to do 28mm French for 7 years war. The supplement that they do is called The Last Argument of Kings. Is my response to, is it good? The problem is it's like a starter book. For this will keep you going until we release a 7 years war supplement. Now, as I said before, I once held the 7 years war supplement in my sweaty hands, but this was 5 years ago, maybe more, and there's been no sight or sound of it since. So I don't know what's going on with that. But I probably would get The Last Argument of Kings. It's got some interesting ideas in there. Ooh, I would probably look elsewhere for gaming, though. I think Under Lily Banners seems to be quite popular. And what's the set that we use? I'm going to look behind me. I don't think I've got it there. No, I'm not sure what the one that... to be honest, I've not played 7 Years War in a long old time. Sorry, just bear with me. So yes, I probably would go for Last Argument of Kings. I would try it out, at least out of interest, if nothing else, because the Warlord supplements are always very good books. But it probably wouldn't be my first choice. I'd probably go for a more 7 Years War centric one. I think is it Articles of War or something? It's the Osprey set of rules that we used, and that seemed to work quite well because it was all about you sort of march on in a line, and then everyone left turns, and then you've got your battle line. So it had a sort of a pre-battle maneuver sequence as well. Honor and I'll be honest with you, I can't remember what it was called. It's got some Prussians in the snow on the cover. But yes, they're the Osprey ones. They're not too expensive either. I think they were only about £10.99 or 12 quid, something like that. Speaking of Osprey, I had an absolutely fantastic game of the Silver Bayonet last week. I am hoping that we have more of it on the channel. Now, I didn't record this one, which is just as well because I got absolutely fisted. But it's it was a really, really good game. The guy I was playing, Connor, came up with an absolutely superb scenario. I'm hoping that we'll have a bit of a campaign with maybe half a dozen players. Maybe in the run-up to Halloween, we can sort something out with that. But no, if you've not tried out the Silver Bayonet, I would highly, highly recommend. And to be honest, you could play it without the supernatural elements and have just a very, very small skirmish game. You're talking 6 or 7 models per side. But the supernatural element definitely made it more fun. It was a really, really good fun game. It was fantastic. He did a great job. Resin temperature is critical. Your resin needs to be about 25. Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, so I'm told. As I say, I treat mine like a rented donkey. So, which I probably shouldn't do, to be honest. But it seems to work for me. So I can't really say more than that, to be honest. Just looked at some images for the Maison de Roy. Okay, from 1815 to 30. They look fabulous. Yeah, well, I mean, old Louis XVIII, when he came back, I guess he had to make them look good. I love the Franco-Prussian War uniforms as well. I'm not sure how similar they were to Louis XVIII. Probably not very, but there's something sort of. It's a bit like the American Civil War uniforms for me. There's something oldie about them, so almost Napoleonic. But there's also something very modern about them. And I think it's... I was talking to my dad about this the other day. I think it's not until you get to photographs, so you get to like the Crimean War or the Victorian era, that I really think of these people as people. Oh, yeah, you've got the personalities from the Napoleonic era. But it's when you've seen that photograph of, like, Grant or... just a group of bushwhackers or something like that. That it really brings it home that these are real people. So yeah, I love those. I mean, as much as I love the Napoleonic era, and obviously I do, the post-Napoleonic, the 19th century is a period that's really growing on me in recent times. So much so that one of my next projects, and this is a bit of fun / the start of the next thing, is some Zulu War British that I've bought. I'm going to do them in home service, and they're going to be fighting some Prussians when I finally get around to building and painting them. Perry's, of course. Spandau Citadel was cool. Not loads of stuff, but the building was impressive. Okay, that's cool. I heard a rumour of the Spandau Ballet, so I'll throw it out to the chat. The Spandau Prison and Spandau Ballet, the name of the band, comes from Spandau Prison. Can someone tell me in the comments what the Spandau Ballet actually was? So there you go. It was a thing that people refer to as the Spandau Ballet. I shall leave that in the. I shall leave that for you guys. Honours of War. Yes, that's the one. Absolutely, Honours of War. That's the one. Yeah, I really enjoy it, considering it's an Osprey rule set, quite cheap. Don't let the low production quality put you off. By low production quality, I just mean it's not 200 pages of glossy photos and all that stuff. Really, really good game. Yeah, no, I enjoyed it, and it really gave the feel of the 7 Years' War. What I'm always thinking of when playing 7 Years' War is how is it different from Napoleonic's, and that felt very, very different to Napoleonic's. So yes, Honours of War. Thank you. Yeah, that's what it was called. Tugendhausen, Neckmull are great scenarios. Eugene's battles in Italy are also interesting. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You know me and Eugene. He's my dog. So any more Eugene is always good. Tyrol is beautiful, well worth a research trip. Yeah, absolutely. Particularly during October, I would imagine. I might have to line that one up for October. And you don't use yours in the winter because it's too cold. That's fair enough. But that's in sort of northern England, though, isn't it? I'm not 100% sure where the questioner is, where 11fellow is. So you might be somewhere that's a bit more temperate. But yeah, 25 degrees. As I say, I definitely try it as an experiment, and I would try one of those freezer bags that It's like a bag that's lined with tin foil to keep it insulated. I would say as well that Clive mentioned the resin temperature being critical. Clive is a much better printer than me. I've seen some of his models, and they are absolutely fantastic. Now, mine are serviceable. A lot of the detail that goes on them, I probably don't get on my my prints, whereas I could do if I dialed them in better. But because I have such a wide variety of models I want to print, and because, to be honest, tabletop is good enough for my painting skills. Yeah, for me, I can say, well, you know, the resin's not that important, but it depends on the level that you want to be printing, I'd imagine, the level of skill and talent that you've got it. And certainly, if Clive says the temperature is very important, I would be inclined to believe him, because as I say, he's a far better printer than I am. Absolute Emperor is also a great set of rules published by Osprey 2. Yeah, I've got them. I haven't played them yet. Jamie, as you hear, we need to sort out a Soldiers of Napoleon game as well. We'll need to, if you're down the club tomorrow, we'll have a chat about that, because I'd like to have a go at that. Everyone's talking about General d'Armée 2, which seems okay. I think I've played General d'Armée 2 a million times though, because it's by which I mean it's a very old school type of game, where a Soldier of Napoleon looks a little bit different. So we'll definitely have to sort something out there. I've just found my deck of cards as well for it. I don't know if you need a deck each, or if it's a deck between the two players. Ah, drummers. You know how much I love drummers. At least this one's in a fairly similar uniform to everyone else. He's not a special snowflake that has his own bloody green and yellow outfit with loads of tiny red ends on it, or something ridiculous like that. I mean, who would do such a thing? Beneath Lily Banners, yes, that's certainly the one that I've heard of. I've not played it myself, but it seems to be quite popular. Haven't they just brought out either a new version or a new supplement for it as well? I seem to recall they have. But yes, Honours of War is definitely the one I was trying to think of. 6 million Russians for 70 as well. Wow, okay. Was it the death dance of a hanging man? Well done, Clive. It was. It was the way the feet kick when they were hanged. So, not hung, when they were hanged. So yes, that was the Spandau Ballet. Allegedly, that's where the name comes from, but I don't think the Kemp brothers knew that. I think they just thought it sounded I don't know, new romantic, I guess. The Spandau Prince became a shopping centre. I know the when I was in Hona Garrison, the NAFI and all that stuff was the offices for offices in the where the office work for Bergen-Belsen got done. Rubric says, in my opinion, the Russian Guard was the best troops in Europe in 1814. They are the noblest troops in Europe, but the worst led. No. In 1814, especially considering the loss of manpower suffered by the French Imperial Guard. What's your opinion? I do like the Russian Imperial Guard. Were they the best in Europe? It would be my answer to that one. While the French Imperial Guard did lose a lot of their veterans, as a proportion of their troops, they lost far fewer than everyone else. That's because they got to the places first and they had the first dibs on rations. So I would suggest looking at the performance of the Imperial Guard at battles like Werder or Leipzig. I would suggest that the French Imperial Guard were probably as good as they were pre-Russia. I made a video about saying, are the old guard a bit over? Are they sort of overrepresented in so much as, you could join the Imperial Guard in 1805 and never fire your musket in anger until Waterloo and be at every major battle? No, that will be unlikely, but it's possible. The Russian Guard, I think, were very well led. I think Grand Duke Constantine is a very underrated Russian commander, actually. I think he understood his brief very well. I think he was a very good divisional commander. Would he have made a good army commander? Probably not. But as a divisional commander, I think he was absolutely superb. So I would say the Russian Guard, very good. But I would still have them, maybe, if the French Old Guard are a 10, I would probably have the Russian Guard as an 8. I'll tell you who I would probably have above the Russian Guard would be the British Foot Guard. Now, that said, you may not be counting those as a European army, so that's fair enough. But certainly by 1814, the Foot Guards have been fighting a lot. They've been fighting both in North Africa, World War II mode. They've been fighting North America and over in the peninsula as well. And unlike most guard units, they were just another division. They were in the line, in the thick of the fighting, and their discipline came less from being super veterans, more from the quality of their training and the esprit de corps. And I think the secret weapon in the British Army was and is its NCOs. And I think the Guard, so the French Imperial Guard, would rotate their NCOs in and out. So if you were a good NCO in the 105th line, for argument's sake, you might be seconded to the Imperial Guard for 9 months or 12 months. And you would do your training, you would do all your old guard stuff. And then you would, say you were a corporal, or say you were a sergeant, you would go to the Imperial Guard and then come back as a line sergeant major. Or maybe like an Eagle Guard or something like that. So you would have a higher rank and you would use the things that you had learned. But in the British Army, you would remain with your battalion. And I think that's where their success came from. So I would actually rate the British above the Russian Guard. Now, of course, there is far more Russian Guard than there are British Guard as well. So that certainly helps. Had it not been for Napoleon coming back for the 100 Days, we may well have found out who was better if the Congress of Vienna had continued down the hole that it was going. It's certainly interesting how in the 19th century the Prussians became the major threat. Certainly in the late 19th century, the French became our allies, and the Prussians were the ones that we were concerned about. Speaking of NCOs, this is what this guy is. He's a really nice model, this guy. He's very nicely animated. There's another NCO who's sort of going the other way. Now, what I could have done, I could have mirrored the figures, but as it is, I've got him here. Now, this guy will be on that side of the unit, and he'll be using his arm to dress the ranks. This guy, I'll probably put... This guy could be on that end of the unit as well, pointing outwards. I'm not 100% sure yet. We'll find out what we're going to do with him. Alright, let me scroll down. Love the fact shopping centre. You have to be careful with the sunlight. Yeah, that's true. You wouldn't want it directly on the thing too much. It's not too bad because your screen should be UV resistant, but I wouldn't have it in direct sunlight if you could at least avoid it. Would you think of doing live stream Black Powder Bath reports? Yeah, I've thought about it. Doing it, setting up is a little bit difficult because you really need more than one camera. And I also, the language might get a bit fruity as well. But it was a nice, liberating experience being on the Plastic Crack podcast. Although I had to I had to respect the guys on that one. But yeah, you know what? It's not something that I'm against. In fact, during the event at Boards and Swords, it's something that I thought of doing, was live streaming one of the games. But it can tend to be a little bit boring unless someone's commentating. So we could end up doing some commentary. To be honest, I haven't really 100% thought about it yet, but it is something that I would like to do at some point. Yes. Redcoat's best. We won. Well, exactly. Yeah, there you go. So we was Brits. We was winners. No, Nick, these are Württembergers, so they are a different flavour of sausage muncher. These are from, I don't even know where Württemberg is, you know. Is it to the, I think it's southern Germany. Yeah, we'll go with southern Germany. That's nicely vague, isn't it? I keep looking at Westphalians as well, but I need to concentrate on these guys. Would Polish Uhlans look similar to the Russian ones uniform-wise? Corvinus Wargaming. Right, now, this is a... Clive's probably a man. He's in the chat. He will probably know. However, I will say it's close enough for government work, as far as I'm concerned. In her autobiography, the Cavalry Maiden talks a lot about being mistaken for a Pole when she's in the Uhlans. So I would have thought possibly yes. Would be my go-to. The thing is with the I mean the Perrys aren't bringing the Polish ones out in plastic anyway, but at the moment, if you're super desperate for some, the Russians are out in plastic. The Poles aren't, so I'd just buy a box of Russians and paint them differently. I honestly would. You might want to convert the saddle cloth, something like that, but by and large, I would say that yeah, you can pretty much get away with it. I'm just doing the chords on this drum. God, I hate drummers so much. This is why this is why I've left the commands to last, because it's just the drummers. It's not really. Yeah, I think the only difference was the shoulder auglets on the Russian Uhlans. Yeah, so you could shave those off, or just say that this colonel liked his troops to be extra spangly, and he gave them all auglets. Trying to get a little bit more paint. Don't forget your live streams. Oh yes, I did live streams for Richie's games, and I got a bit of pushback because people found it a bit boring, which is fair enough. I think. Don't forget about the Prussian Guards. Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah, yes, I did live stream those games. Thank you for reminding me on that, Clive. I also was hoping to have a conversation in the chat about having a game towards the end of this year as well, but I've not brought that up yet. The Russian Guard fought the French at their absolute peak more times than the Brits. I guess since they lost so many times, it may have tarnished their reputation. Also, just another opinion. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I certainly don't think that it was a question. You know, I don't think it was like, oh yeah, the Russian Guard were terrible and the British Guard were amazing. I'm certainly not saying that at all. I think the Russian Guard were very impressive. And very well, as I say, particularly because I think they were very well led. I think that they did fight the Russians more than the British Guard, the French more than the British Guard did. That is true. And they were also fighting Napoleon more frequently as well, as opposed to his sort of sub-commanders. So yeah, no, I mean it's a reasonable argument. But I 100%, I don't want you to think I'm saying that the Russian Guard I don't rate, because that's not true at all. I'm a big fan of the Russian Guard. I think they were very good troops. in what would eventually become quite a good army, I think, as well. I certainly think that if Britain and Prussia hadn't got the job done in 1815, I don't fancy Napoleon's chances very much against the Russians and the Austrians, and by which I mean the Russians. A commentary style would be good to try, and like it's Wargame TV or something. Yeah, it could be cool. I mean, I've said before, I think we should do it like a like ESPN sports style. I think that'd be absolutely hilarious. Where you had like oh yeah, look at the move there. Oh, rewind that. And things like that. I think that could be good fun. But maybe not for Black Powder. I had some friends who tried doing it for Blood Bowl. It kind of semi worked for them. But yes, I think you could do some good stuff. I think the problem is with Blood Bowl, you kind of expect it, but the comedy comes from the incongruity of doing what's a fairly like slow paced game, but just the absolute hype levels of making it sound awesome. I'm trying to do a 50 mil army. Oh, right, if you do 50 mil, then yeah, I'd say it's absolutely fine, I think. So we should gang up on Richie and persuade him to a non-historical battle of whichever figures. Oh, absolutely, yeah. We should do Quatre Bras, but with Mardists and Zulus or something. Yeah. So I mean, he'll be happy. It's still Quatre Bras, isn't it? Yeah, in 50 mil, I wouldn't sweat it. If you can get hold of the correct models, I probably would. But if someone's selling a regiment of Russian Newlands for 50% off or something, I'd go large for it. So this is the other NCO. One of the things I really like about him is he's got his paste stick. Here, I'm not really sure if this is a paste stick or not, or a swagger stick. And these go right back to Roman times, where the Roman cohort second in command, the Optio, would have a vine stick that he would use to dress ranks, and more importantly, crack people on the head with. So his own men on the head with, not the enemy. But yeah, no, this is it's really nice how it's tucked into his chest strap on his backpack. Really, really nice model. Again, it's just a lot of little details that just make him stand out. I mean, they were a pain in the arse, don't get me wrong, but I really like the fact that you get like strings of onions on the Warlord Games backpacks and things like that. I think that just add a little bit of character to the models. I also think Saint-Hilaire would have been an excellent marshal. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Just imagine him, Van Damme, and Land commanding the vanguard. Oh yeah, no, absolutely. I'm a big fan of Saint-Hilaire actually. As I said, I've said before, I still think making Grouchy a marshal was an odd decision. I mean, the guy was a light cavalry commander. All right, you had other cavalry commanders as marshals as well, but I don't know. I mean, you had Murat, so do you really need? Well, I guess he didn't have Murat the 100 days, so I guess he was sort of trying to replace Murat, but I mean, you can't really, can you? So he was onto a loser there, I think. Oh, blimey. If you do, you should have commentary in that slow pace, like on cricket, snooker, and golf. Yeah, well, that wouldn't be so fun, though, would it? I mean, I want like Joe Rogan style, like insanity, like going on in the commentary box as you roll that 1-1 for your order test or something. But no, it could be quite good as well. And here we can, I don't know why it's David Attenborough, and here we can see the French line advancing in column. They're going into line formation. I don't know what's going on. I don't know why it's David Attenborough, but there used to be a channel that did Warhammer 40,000 lore, but it was David Attenborough's voice. It was like an AI thing. Oh, it was absolutely amazing. They had to, yeah, I think he got like a cease and desist or something because he stopped doing it in David Attenborough's voice. But no, they were absolutely amazing. They were such good videos. So maybe I should do that for Napoleonics. But with Sean Bean instead of David Attenborough. I'm just going to tuck it in under there. Right, so it's gone 7 o'clock. I'm going to wrap it up here. However, before you go, I'm just going to tease you a little bit. Let me pull this camera out. Because, so these are the command groups for my Württembergers. Now, this is some of the army that I've got done so far. I do have others, but those are the ones I couldn't find, which is why I didn't do what I was going to do on this stream, which was a review of the troops. Now, I use really useful boxes to store my figures in because they are really useful. So this is that. Now, as you can see, I've got quite a few infantry battalions done already. It's just the command I'm missing. So I've got a command for these guys. So that's cool. I can put that to one side. But I've got one... I think so. A battalion I'm doing of 36 figures, so it's 9 bases of 4. So I've left a gap here. Now this is the his sword didn't print properly, so I'll have to find one to glue on him. That is the special edition officer that came with the first Kickstarter. So I've got a battalion here that need a command. I've taken the battalion command out of here. I've also got this one here. I've got the, oh sorry, yeah, that's the remainder of the battalion there. I've got my officers. These guys are going to need finishing off as well. He's a particularly nice one. He needs an arm gluing on as well because his hat didn't print properly. So he's got some troops marching past him. So I think that's going to be quite a nice little mini vignette. And we've got the Crown Prince. He's done as well. Now, I'm not a great painter of Doges. You see his horse didn't print properly either, so I need to finish off sorting him out. So there we go. So this is part of the army so far. I've got my guns. I've got the crew printed. Where are the crew? The crew are in here. So I've got all those printed. I'm going to need to paint those. I've got some Jaegers in here. The Imperial Fist Hussars, they're long gone and painted. So these are some Jaegers. And then these are just some spares I have. So these are misprints. You can see with this Grenadier here. He's a misprint. But he's worth keeping because you can always use his head for something else if you need a bear skin. Or his bayonet if you've got one that snaps off. So even if you get misprints like these, don't just necessarily throw them away straight away. Because they can still be useful for parts. So this is 1, 2, 3 battalions worth here. So this is a small brigade. I'm going to have to, as I say, do the command. So I've got 1, 2 commands I still need to do. I need to sort their flag out as well. And that's it. So that's where we are at the moment. I've got a couple of lifeguard here. I've painted. Now these aren't finished, but you've seen before that I've got the finished ones. So again, I'm not sure where that box has gone. So this is half of it. That was just a sneak peek for the video this Saturday, because this Saturday or Sunday rather is going to be a review of the Württemberger troops and just looking at what we need to go forward. But I'm going to knock it on the head there because it's gone 7 o'clock. I'm going to be in the doghouse. Thank you very much for joining me. I'm going to... Oh, yes, Alex, while you're here, you have submitted the Army for June prematurely. That's fine. Yeah, no, it's fine. You're absolutely fine. Don't worry too much about that. I emailed you back because I can't open the file that you sent me. So I did email you back and asked you to either just put it in the body of an email or send it to me as a PDF, if that's okay. Van Damme or Soult should have been the Marshal of the 100 Days. But I completely agree. Yeah, I certainly think Van Damme would have been. I wouldn't have left Davo at home either. Admittedly, they are 6 foot by 4 foot tables for the event. That's because that's all boards and swords have got. It's not ideal, and I've reduced them all the ranges by a third. But yeah, unfortunately, that is a bit of making the best of what we've got. Hopefully, in the future, we'll be able to find a venue that's got some 6 foot by 8 foot tables. No, you're right, Alex. You absolutely no need to apologise at all, my friend. It's yeah, please don't apologise. It's absolutely fine. But I'm just curious to see what your army list is. That's all. I couldn't open it. But thank you very much for watching, guys. I'm going to knock it on the head there, and I'm at Partisan this weekend, so if you're around, I'd love to see you there. But if not, then I will see you guys on Sunday's video as we do our review of the troops. So thank you very much, and I'll see you guys next time.